There are two things today that I want to accomplish. The first thing is to flush the brake fluid that's in my car. I have currently 155 or 156,000 miles on this car, and I've never changed the brake fluid. Actually, I may have changed it at 30,000 or 60,000, but that was done at the dealership anyhow, if it was done. So today's goal is to accomplish two things. One, flush the brake fluid from the system, and second is to install these steel braided brake lines for the front and rear brake lines, so that this way I can eliminate any spongy pedal behavior. When we apply the brakes, what happens is pressure is applied to the fluid, and that pressure is then transmitted through the brake oil into the calipers. All of the lines in the vehicle are steel lines, except when they come down to your wheels. And here we can see there's a steel line that's coming from the master cylinder, but then it converts into a rubber hose. Some of the pressure is dissipated over time through these rubber hoses because they become soft as time goes by, as the vehicle ages, as the elements act upon these hoses. They become old, they start cracking at times, and they definitely become softer. And so some of that pressure is now dissipated through here, and now you're not getting effective braking force being applied through the caliper. So my goal is to replace this with a cable that is steel braided, which helps minimize any of the expansion that takes place in this hose. And so what I've done is I've gone ahead and bought cables that have been made by TechnaFit. Now I've got a 2005 Hyundai Elantra. I could not find any of the brake lines for my vehicle, so what I did is I purchased the ones for a 2001, 2004 rear disc car. These are the HY 1600 RD. They should perfectly fit. I've gone ahead and measured the cable length and checked it against the front line, and then I've also gone ahead and checked it against the rear line right here. This one goes from here, goes into a sleeve of some sort, and then it goes ahead and attaches to the caliper at this location. The kit comes with 4 cables. Comes with the screws, and it comes with the copper washers that are going to be installed. It has the attachments that will basically attach to the body so that the cable is not free to move around and get caught in something. Instead, those cables are routed properly so that as your car moves up and down, it's protected at all times. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and raised my car. I basically jacked up the vehicle by using a jack and applying it here. I've gone ahead and secured the front first by installing 2 of these jacks, and then I went ahead and raised the back end of the vehicle by applying the jacking force at that location, and then I moved in and installed the stands at this location so that the car is held up. Just to point out, on these unibodies, you want to be careful as to where you install these stands, and installed it in such a manner that it is touching at 2 locations. So one at here, one at here. It helps secure the vehicle in the elevated position. Once you've got your car elevated and on stands, Before you take off the wheels, you want to make sure the car is firmly planted. But I'm going to go ahead and leave the rear jack in, but there's not a whole lot of pressure in there. Pretty much everything is going through the rear stands here. You want to go ahead and move the vehicle, make sure it's sturdy. And once that is done, you go ahead and remove the wheels, slide them underneath the car so they're out of the way, and then we'll move on to starting to remove these lines. Before I begin removing these lines, I just kind of want to quickly outline the steps that we're going to go ahead and take. Basically, when draining, flushing the brake system of any vehicle, I mean this applies to any vehicle, basically you want to first empty the reservoir can. For that, I've gone ahead and purchased a Mighty Vac system. You could buy this on eBay. You can buy this at Harbor Freight. This system here at Harbor Freight would be I believe it's about $40 with the 25% coupon. You can get it for $30. It comes with all sorts of hoses and fittings. You could also use this same kit to look for pressure leaks down the road in your vehicle if you have any. So it's a handy tool to have. You can buy it off of eBay. I think you can get it for like $15, shipped to your house. Whatever is suitable. If you plan ahead, you can buy it online. This way you can wait for it to arrive. And unlike me, I didn't plan ahead, so I just went ahead to Harbor Freight and purchased it from there. So I'm going to use this at all locations. So with this thing here, I'm going to pull out the fluid that's in here and discard the fluid safely into an empty bottle that I will now then take to a recycling facility where I will then take and dump the oil. So step one, empty this oil, fill it in with new oil, and then you start from the furthest location from your from the master cylinder, and that would be the rear passenger, then the rear driver side, then the front passenger, and then the front driver side. When I am going to be bleeding the system at any of these four locations, I am basically going to remove the cover on the bleeding nipple. I'm going to then go ahead and attach a hose to the front end of this, which will basically slide over this, and then loosen this a quarter of a turn, and then pump the handle on here about 10 to 15 times, pulling out the oil liquid, and then hopefully by that time it will have drawn in the new fluid. Basically continue making sure that all of the oil fluid has been pulled through, and then when that has happened, go ahead and tighten this back up and you're good to go. So our first step is going to be remove the line for the rear passenger, install the new line, open this up, and then pump the fluid. This way all of my old fluid will make it through here and then out of here, and then I am good to go to the next location that needs to be drained. One thing to note is when you do this, there's a couple of things that I've seen online where you can apply grease to around the fittings to prevent any air being pulled in when you pump it through the threads. And other people have done is if to remove the nipple altogether, installed Teflon tape around it and reinstalled it. So this way when they turn it a quarter turn, it doesn't suck air through the threaded area and into your collecting bottle. So you just want to make sure you're not sucking air in and not really pulling out any other fluid. So that's about it. I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'll show you guys how to remove the brake line here soon. When replacing your brake fluid, you want to make sure that your car requires .3 or .4 or .5 fluid. dot 3 and 4 fluid can be mixed together because they're basically the same composition from what I've been able to understand. And dot 5 is made out of a different material and does not absorb water as easily as dot 3 and dot 4 does. So dot 3 and 4 cannot be mixed with dot 5. However, dot 3 and 4 can be mixed. Basically, dot 4 oil is a modified version of dot 3 that does not absorb water as quickly, and so hence they have labeled it with a dot 4. There are many discussions online that I've read where people suggest that it is not advisable at all to mix dot 3 and 4 together. So as you can see here, I'm going ahead and pumping the handle on the system and pulling out the oil from the reservoir, keeping an eye on making sure that I empty as much of the oil as possible. If the reservoir fills up, I'm going to go ahead and stop, empty the bottle, and then repump everything else out. So it's fairly easy to do this. Alright, what I've gone ahead is I've removed, as you can see, I've removed the nipple, the bleeding nipple, and I've gone ahead and added some Teflon tape to it, and I'm going to reinstall it. But before I did that, I went ahead and put a pan here so I can start catching the oil that starts dripping off from the caliper, that starts coming out of the caliper. So there it is. So I'm going to go ahead and install I've now got the bleeding nipple installed back on, and what we're going to go ahead and do is attach the hose over the nipple. I will then go ahead and open it a quarter of a turn. And then I'm going to now start pumping the fluid out. And as you can see, it is starting to make its way out of the caliper and into the reservoir. See, old fluid on top, nice clean fluid at the bottom. The line is full with nice clean fluid. I'm going to go ahead and tighten the nipple, bleeding nipple, and then pull the line, and then we're good to go ahead to remove the old brake line and install the new brake line that is has the braided wire around it. Alright, I've gone ahead and loosened and removed the steel brake line from this end. I've gone ahead and just basically pulled out this clamp here that's holding the upper end of the brake line into this location right here. Then there is an intermediate clip just like this that I basically pulled. Basically, you grab it with a plier, a nose plier, from this end, lay it all the way out, and just basically turn it, and that will come out. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove the bottom screw, catch that washer, pull this cable out, and here we have the line that I just removed, and I'm going to go ahead and get ready to install the new one. Alright, as you can see, the new cable that I purchased is about the same length, so I have no idea why they don't sell this for 2005 Hyundai Elantra. I don't understand why they've got it listed for only 01 to 04. But anyhow, you can see that this grommet here will be just needed to be pushed up so that it sits in right. So I'm going to go ahead and install this end first. I'm going to go ahead and install that end in where it needs to go. Then we'll push this up and down so that it sits in at this location. So I'll get this installed and give you guys a shot of that. Alright, now I understand why they don't have this labeled for a 2005 Hyundai Elantra. Basically, this end here has a nut all the way around, as opposed to the original, which had a slot only. Basically allowed it to fit in between these two returns so that it basically gripped this from turning. And so basically what I'm going to have to do now is basically cut these small nibs off so that I can seat this properly and get the clamp in from underneath to hold this in place. So once I do that, I'll give you guys a picture of what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and use a, you can use a Dremel tool, that's probably the best because it's a tight fitted area. I don't have that, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is use basically a grinder and take those two nibs off. Alright, I've got the line installed in. When installing this line in, you want to make sure when you install this end in, you've got the kink pointing upwards. If you reverse it and try to install it, you'll see that it won't fit in. So you'll have to end up reversing it. The other thing to note is that you're going to have a washer, copper crimp washer above and below above and below this end, so that you end up creating a seal between the head of the screw and then the body of the caliper itself. And then I've got this here squeezed in. Can't see the picture. Got that located right into where it should be between the two tabs. I've got the lower tab in as well, and then up here you can see that the two tabs have grounded off, but I've gone ahead after connecting the upper hose and the lower hose. After having done that, that is when I went ahead and pushed this clip in, holding this firmly. So we're done here on the rear driver's side. It took us a little longer than expected, only because this is my first time doing it, but also we ran into the issue of having to grind those tabs off, so we know what to do for the next side. So this is it for this end, and we're going to go ahead and repeat the same thing for the other end, and I'll show you the shots as I complete each end. We're now at the front, and basically what we've done is we've gone ahead and bled the old fluid out of this line. Now it's time for us to go ahead and remove this old line. And so what we've done is we've gone ahead and broken this loose. Next thing after that, what we did is we removed the nut here that holds this end of the line in. It's just a bracket that's stuck on. And what we're going to do now is pull this clip out, so this end is free to come out. And then we're going to go ahead and remove this nut so this housing comes off. Install the new line into here by making sure we use both of our copper pinch washers. Once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and secure the line here loosely. Put it through here after I've grounded off the tabs. After I've grounded off the tabs that you can see on this thing, so that the housing can sit in, the new hose can sit into it. I'm going to go ahead and tie in the steel line into it before I go ahead and put this clip back in. So once I get that in, I'll give you guys a quick run over it. Alright, I've got my new line installed. As you can see, I have it jigged up here now because I ended up grinding more than just the nibs that were holding the old hose in position. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've installed the clip, but it wasn't holding, so I ended up crisscrossing two ties so that it's held in place. It's not going to go anywhere. And that's it. So that's that hose. I've got my clip installed on this side, and then we are into the caliper on this end. So that's it. Pretty much it's a straightforward job for anyone who wants to go ahead and do this change. The last part of this oil change is to go ahead and top off the fluid. I've gone ahead and topped off the fluid in there. It's pretty much at the max line right now. You can see that max line, so it's pretty much filled up to the max. And we're going to go ahead and install the cover back right on. And now we're ready to go ahead and test drive the car after we put the wheels on. When you put the wheels back on, make sure you torque it to your manufacturer's specifications. You don't want to over tighten the lug nuts on your tires. Okay, so I have now been driving for 1 month with these new brake lines, and I've pulled this tire off so that we could look at the brake lines, see how they are faring. This is pretty much still solid in there. The reason why I took this one off was because I screwed up that. Everything else in here looks good. I've got a torn boot to deal with now. That's why you see all this beautiful grease all over the place. So I just wanted to pull that off and show it to you that if you did end up using zip ties like I did, if you over grind, you are at no risk of messing up. I just wanted to also show you how the cable has been faring through the sleeve, and it seems like it's been doing a pretty good job. The nylon cover on the outside is the only thing that's twisting and slipping, but I really don't care. The hose is going through a rubber housing, so I'm good there. All I can tell you is the stopping capability is night and day different. I am amazed. I probably should have done this a long time ago when I got the car and initially started complaining about my front brakes not being used at all. I ran through 2 rear brakes, and finally at 100 and something I ended up replacing the front rotors and the front brake pads, and the brake pads were just like new. So anyhow, this is a well worth it mod to your OEM brake lines. This concludes our tutorial here on changing the power steering fluid and replacing the typical brake lines, so OEM brake lines, with steel braided brake lines. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you've got any questions, please go ahead and post them down below, and I will do my best to answer any of them.